Cruz Prime Spaceport, a haven for the wicked. Smugglers, pirates, mercenaries, and slavers haunted the neon-drenched alleys like wraiths. The air hung heavy with acrid smoke, greasy oil, and simmering tension. A cacophony of noise assaulted the senses: chattering machines, alien tongues from 100 worlds, and whispered deals in the shadows. Through this chaos moved Micah Vance, a Terran engineer, hands buried deep in his coat pockets, eyes sharp and observant. He wasn't looking for trouble. He sought discarded treasures, old tech, broken ships, forgotten machines' junk. He found solace in restoration, a process that brought order to his own fragmented world. But this day, something darker tugged at him. He trailed a group of cloaked figures down a claustrophobic alley to a featureless steel door. A scanner emitted a sharp beep as he approached. Guards, their eyes cold and reptilian, scrutinized him. "Invitation," one rasped. Micah produced a small disc, holding it up. "A convincing fake," he admitted, "but it'll do." The guard grudgingly waved him through. The room beyond was chillingly dark, illuminated by flickering lights above a circular stage. Encircling it, aliens in opulent robes and gleaming armor sat on cold, metal chairs. It wasn't a bazaar for goods, but for souls. Slavery, outlawed in most systems, thrived openly on Cruz Prime. Micah leaned against a railing, his stomach churning, as they presented the next item. She was strikingly tall, fragile, with skin like polished blue stone, and long silver hair braided with shimmering beads. A simple gray robe concealed her form, but a brutal metal collar encircled her neck. Her violet eyes, once vibrant, were now dull, weary, distant. She sat motionless in a hovering chair, her legs unresponsive. The announcer's voice boomed through the chamber. "Lot 72, Virilian female, 27 galactic cycles, of royal lineage. Paralyzed from the waist down due to spinal trauma. Neural inhibitor in place. No history of violence. Docile. Starting bid, 10,000 credits." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Royal blood? A Virilian princess? The Virilian Empire was ancient, powerful. Why was she here? Whispers slithered through the air. "She's useless. Too much risk. Royal perhaps, but broken." One alien, a grotesque blob of flesh, bellowed with laughter. "Perhaps I'll purchase her as a grotesque trophy for my hall." Micah's fists clenched. He cared nothing for politics or empires, but he couldn't bear the emptiness in her eyes, the look of utter resignation. She wasn't simply disabled. She was discarded, forgotten. Micah raised his hand, his voice cutting through the murmur. 15,000. The crowd turned, surprised. A Terran, bidding on a crippled alien princess. A fat merchant, his tentacles adorned with gaudy gold rings, sneered. 20,000. Micah glanced at the girl. For a fleeting moment, their eyes met. He saw a spark, a flicker of life buried deep within. 30,000, Micah stated, his voice steady. The merchant recoiled, silenced. "No further bids?" the announcer declared. "Sold to the Terran." In the back room, Micah signed the contract, transferring the credits. A guard shoved her forward, carelessly tossing the control pad for her chair into Micah's hand. "She's yours," the guard grunted. "No refunds." Micah turned to her. She remained silent, still, staring blankly ahead, as if detached from her own body. "I won't hurt you," he murmured softly. "My name is Micah." Her lips barely moved. "Why?" she whispered, the sound barely audible. Micah knelt beside her chair. "Because I can't stand seeing people rot in chains," he said. "And because I believe you're worth more than they claim." She studied him, a flicker of curiosity in her violet eyes. People like you never end up in that chair by accident. Someone wanted you silenced." She fell silent, lost in thought. Then softly, "My name is Sairia. I was once heir to the Verlian throne, and now..." She looked down, despair etched on her face. "Now I am nothing." Micah leaned closer. "No," he said firmly. "You are still you. Maybe broken, maybe weary, but not nothing." Her hands trembled slightly. You speak like a dreamer." Micah smiled gently. "I fix broken things. That includes people." The following day, Micah presented her with an unexpected gift, a sketchpad displaying the design for a mechanical exosuit constructed from scavenged Terran biomechanical parts. A frame designed to fit around her legs and waist, controlled by brain signals and muscle sensors. "I want to build this for you," he said. "It might allow you to walk again." She stared at the page, then at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. You purchased me. Now you wish to fix me?" He shook his head. "I'm not fixing you," he said softly. "I'm offering you a choice." Tears welled in her eyes. Tears welled in her eyes but did not fall. Her voice trembled. "No one has inquired about my desires since the day I was injured." He stated, rising, "Then let us commence today." She glanced at the blueprint anew, then at him, and to his surprise, a faint smile touched her lips. "That would be pleasing," she murmured, the expression small, fragile, yet genuine. For the first time since losing everything, Princess Solari felt a stirring of warmth within her chest. Hope. The second wind was no majestic vessel. Its hull bore the scars of countless battles, its paint chipped, its engines groaning ominously during flight. Yet to Micah Vance, it represented more than mere transport. It was liberation. And now, it was sanctuary for two souls. Within the ship's crew quarters, Princess Solari sat by the table, her gaze fixed on the array of screens. A soft gray robe draped her form, her silver hair loosely gathered. Her hoverchair drifted silently, its control pad resting on her lap. Her violet eyes now held a brighter luminescence, though her body remained motionless from the waist down. Opposite her, Micah was immersed in his work, tools, wires, and blueprints strewn across the table. "What purpose does this component serve?" Solari inquired, gesturing with her eyes. Micah offered a gentle smile. "This neural link receptor translates your brain's signals into commands for the exosuit. Consider it a bridge between your thoughts and your legs." She blinked. "But I cannot feel my legs." "Feeling them isn't necessary," he explained. "You only need to conceive of movement. The suit will handle the execution." He met her gaze. "It's akin to teaching your body a new dialect." She studied the device again, curiosity illuminating her eyes. "I never believed humans capable of such ingenuity," she confessed. Micah chuckled. "Most extraterrestrials don't. They perceive Terrans as impulsive, overly emotional, perhaps too uncomplicated. But we excel at one crucial art: adaptation. When the cosmos declares no, we discover a way to answer yes." For several days, the ship remained cloaked in orbit around a serene moon, an ideal clandestine haven, free from patrols, pirates, and any unwelcome attention. Micah dedicated himself to constructing the exosuit, piecing it together from salvaged parts, old Verilian technology, and Teon components. The design was meant to be lightweight, flexible, and smooth, meticulously sculpted to complement her legs and hips. He integrated micromotors, stabilizers, and a sophisticated feedback system for unwavering balance. Meanwhile, Solari observed and absorbed, her questions insightful, her suggestions astute, even assisting in resolving a few circuit glitches. Micah was struck by the depth of her understanding regarding energy systems and command technology. "You studied engineering?" he asked one evening. "It was a necessity," she replied. Burlean royals are rigorously trained in science, warfare, and governance. I, however, found machines far more straightforward than people. Micah nodded in agreement. I understand that sentiment perfectly. One night, after a protracted work session, Solari posed a question. Micah, do you seek something from me? He looked up, a flicker of confusion crossing his features. What do you mean? You rescued me. You're building this suit. No one offers such assistance without expectation. Micah leaned back, a thoughtful expression on his face. Others aided me once when Nothing. They asked for nothing in return. Her voice softened. I was raised to believe that every act of kindness carries a price. Micah's eyes gentled, and silence descended, thick with unspoken thoughts. Then she spoke again. Do you truly believe I will walk again? Micah met her gaze, his expression now serious. I cannot promise that. But with this suit, you will be able to stand, perhaps even to defend yourself. And that is a beginning. She nodded slowly, a fragile seed of belief taking root within her for the first time. By the 6th day, the exosuit was complete. Micah carried it into the main chamber, a sleek, silver marvel, perfectly contoured to her form. Tiny lights pulsed softly on its surface. The legs were long and powerful, yet exuded an elegant grace, designed to mimic the fluidity of natural limbs. It is time, he announced. She appeared apprehensive, but nodded her assent. Micah gently assisted her from the hover chair and guided her into the supportive harness. He affixed the suit piece by piece, the thighs, knees, shins, and ankles. The central control unit settled snugly around her lower back. Now breathe, he instructed. Close your eyes. Focus on moving your left leg forward. She frowned, her brow furrowed in intense concentration. A moment passed. Then her leg moved. Her eyes snapped open. I did that? She whispered. Attempt it again, she willed herself. This time, both legs shifted, taking a tentative step forward. The suit's motors hissed softly, its balanced movements perfectly attuned to her thoughts. Micah quickly supported her beneath her arms as she took her first unassisted step. I am standing, she breathed. No, princess, he corrected, a wide smile gracing his lips. You are walking. The following 3 days were dedicated to training. Initially, Solari was ungainly, her movements faltering. The suit occasionally overcompensated, but Micah offered guidance, and the system rapidly learned, adapting to her brainwaves and physical cues. Soon she could traverse the room without losing her balance. A laugh escaped her, a sound Micah had never before heard. With each passing day, her strength grew, her posture straightened, her shoulders lifted. She moved through the ship with a slow, deliberate pride, like a queen learning to adorn her crown anew. Micah observed her with quiet admiration. Why are you dedicating so much effort to helping me? She inquired one evening during their practice. Micah sat on a nearby crate. Because I've witnessed the devastating impact of surrender. I couldn't save my mother when she fell ill, nor could I avert the war that claimed my brother. But perhaps I can assist you. Her voice, soft as a caress, reached him. You already have. But peace in space, she knew, was a fleeting commodity. Outside on a desolate rocky moon, Micah's sensors detected an old Valian military distress signal. Tuning in, he discovered a loyalist captain, hidden and alive, speaking of a nascent rebellion on the Empire's fringes. A rebellion seeking a leader. Solari, overhearing, felt a surge of defiance. They don't know I'm alive, she declared. Then it's time they did, Micah responded. Solari looked at her exosuit, then back at him. Will they follow someone who can't walk on her own? Micah gently touched the suit. You can walk now, And when they see you standing tall after all they did to you, they'll follow you anywhere." Solari's expression transformed. The lost princess vanished, replaced by a reborn leader, a survivor. Micah moved to the controls. "I can send a beacon to let them know you're alive." "Do it," she commanded. The signal, coded and encrypted, pierced the stars, reaching old allies, hidden ships, and loyal hearts. Far away, aboard an Imperial warship, a dark figure, Lord Torth, the usurper who seized Salari's throne, watched a screen. "The lost princess. She's alive," an officer reported. Torth, his face cold and cruel, turned. "Find her," he commanded. "This time, ensure she doesn't rise again." Across the galaxy, Loyalist ships received the unmistakable signal. Princess Salari of Veralia lived. To some, it was a ghost speaking. To others, hope. To Torth, it was a threat. He replayed her message, her image, standing tall in sleek black armor, silver hair pulled back, her voice calm, yet powerful. "To those who still believe in the Valian crown, I call you to rise," she urged. "The Empire has fallen into the hands of traitors. If you have not forgotten who I am, find me. We'll rise together." Torth crushed the data chip. "Send bounty hunters. Send ships. I want her dead." Back on the second wind, Salari trained relentlessly. Her exosuit became an extension of her being, allowing her to fight, jump, and sprint. Micah had integrated defensive shields, energy boosters, and a plasma blade. In the cargo bay, she sparred with a combat drone. Her movements were precise, her steps controlled. "You're moving like a soldier now," Micah marveled. "I was always a soldier," Salari replied. "They took my legs, but not my fire." Micah nodded. "And now the galaxy knows it." Suddenly, an alarm blared. "We've got company," Micah announced, his eyes on the console. 3 red dots. Fast-moving, no IDs. They're coming straight for us. Sari's voice remained calm. "Bounty hunters." The second wind shuddered as a warning shot from an enemy ship narrowly missed. The message was clear: surrender or die. Micah spun the ship into the asteroid belt. "We can't outrun them," he stated. "Then we don't run," Salari countered. "We fight." Micah looked at her. "This isn't a warship." "But it's ours," she replied. "And I have an idea." Micah launched 4 combat bots from the drone bay, handing Salari a wrist controller linked to her suit. "They respond to your thoughts." Salari nodded. "Good. Let's give them a surprise." The bounty ships surrounded them. "Surrender the princess," a voice hailed. "Do it now, or we open fire." Salari appeared on the screen. "You think I'm scared of men who hunt from shadows?" she challenged. "Come and try." The enemy ship fired. Micah evasively rolled the second wind. Salari activated the drone controls, launching all 4 bots at the nearest attacker. The drones swarmed, dodging lasers and disabling engines. One ship exploded, another retreated. The third charged. "Open the side hatch," Micah yelled. "What?" Salari ordered. He hit the button, revealing the void of space. Salari locked her magnetized boots and launched herself out. The last bounty ship, focused on the second wind, didn't notice the glowing figure landing on its hull. She scaled the ship like a spider, reached the cockpit, and activated her arm blade. A single strike sliced through the ship's canopy, and she dropped inside. Seconds later, the enemy ship detonated. Micah watched, stunned, as Salari's suit boosters lit up through the smoke as she flew back. He caught her in the airlock. "You're crazy," he laughed. "I'm alive," she replied. News of the engagement spread like wildfire, with videos of Salari fighting in space leaking onto black market networks. transforming her into more than just a legend. Survivor Noi became a beacon. Loyalist ships, secret colonies, and hidden Valian captains reached out. A message from Commander Zevon, former head of the Royal Fleet, stood out. "If you live, my blade is yours again. Meet us in Zareth's Fall." Solari, recalling Zevon as a fine warrior, declared, "We go." Micah plotted the course, warning of wrecks and mines. "Good," Solari replied. "Harder to find." At Zareth's Fall, dozens of ships bearing Varelia's crest filled the darkness. They had come, still believing. Solari boarded the largest ship, stepping onto the bridge in black and silver armor, the royal seal shining. Commander Zevon, older, scarred, and in faded golden armor, knelt. "My Empress," he declared, others following suit. Solari surveyed the room, her voice firm. "I am not Empress yet, not until the traitor is gone, but I will not hide. We take back what was stolen. We fight together." Cheers erupted. Micah watched, realizing in days she'd transformed from broken exile to living legend. Later, in her quarters, Solari told Micah, "You gave me more than a machine, Jaw. You gave yourself the power. I merely built the tool." Micah replied, "I did what I could." Gazing at the forming fleet, Solari confessed, "I once thought my life ended when they broke my back. Now, I see it began the day I met you." Micah smiled. Solari stood, facing him, eyes blazing. "I'm ready to win one." The fleet was unified, Varelia's colors flying for the first time in 5 years. Ships were restored, weapons replaced, the Loyalists united with purpose. Princess Solari, no longer a prisoner, stood tall in her silver-trimmed exosuit, the royal crest gleaming. Though her legs remained immobile, the suit obeyed her thoughts. She had trained. She had bled. She was ready. Commander Zevon stood beside her, stating, "Princess, 17 ships, 5 destroyers, 2 stealth units, several smaller crafts. It's not an empire, but it's a start." "Enough," Solari affirmed. Micah added, "We also have the element of surprise. Toth thinks you're hiding, not preparing." Solari gazed at the stars. Not for long. Operation Flamewing commenced, attacking supply lines, disrupting communications, hitting patrol stations, signaling the true heir's return. Strikes were swift and brutal across multiple systems. Solari led the first assault on a mining colony. In her jet-boosted suit, she landed in the command center, her squad eliminating guards instantly. Moving like lightning, her plasma blade sliced through steel. Within 4 minutes, Solari stood atop the enemy command table, activating cameras. "This is no longer your empire," she announced to the recording systems. "This is the beginning of its end." In 2 weeks, word spread. Planets rose again, cities displayed her crest, and hidden channels echoed royal songs. She became the Iron Phoenix. Lord Toth raged on his throne ship, demanding why she hadn't been destroyed. She escaped. "She had help," an officer reported. "A Terran scavenger, Micah Vance." Toth, staring at the stars, sneered. "A crippled girl and a broken man. I ruled an empire, and now I am threatened by scraps." He activated his secret weapon, the Silent Sun, a city-sized war station hidden nearby. The heart of the Empire, a place no vessel had ever reached and lived to tell the tale. It wielded a stellar beam, capable of incinerating entire armadas, guarded by an endless swarm of emotionless, deadly drones. That Silent Sun, now sent towards the border, into rebel territory. Back on Zareth's ruins, Micah labored tirelessly. He'd fortified the Second Wind, equipping it with stealth plating, rapid thrusters, and advanced shielding. He also created shock missiles, weapons that didn't explode, but disabled with electromagnetic pulses. Solari watched him, curiosity etched on her features. "You're no soldier anymore, Micah," she observed one night. "Why are you still here?" He smiled. "Because you refused to give up. I've seen armies crumble, yet you rose again. That kind of spirit deserves to triumph." Her eyes softened. "So, you believe in me?" "With all my heart." A shared silence then. "Stay with me." "I already am." Then the warning ripped through the calm. A scout ship, half destroyed, hurtled into their zone. "They're coming!" the pilot screamed. "It's not a fleet, it's a colossal station. We tried to scan, but lost systems. It's heading for Redden Verge." Solari turned to her command crew. "Evacuate Redden Verge, send the fleet to intercept, and bring me the second wind." Micah blinked. "You're coming too." She nodded, a steely resolve in her gaze. "I won't watch another world burn." The battle ignited at the edge of Redden. The silent sun arrived, a behemoth of destruction. Its core pulsed with crimson energy, its power echoing in the radio waves. Drones swarmed like metal insects. Lasers blazed across the void as the rebel fleet fought, fueled by defiance. Solari, in her black and silver exosuit, charged at the forefront, ship-hopping, dismantling drone controls. Micah, maneuvering the second wind through the chaos, disabled waves of drones with his shock missiles, a daring dance with death. On the Vornus blade, Zevin bellowed orders, "Hold formation! Protect the flagship!" But the silent sun was overwhelming. It charged its stellar beam. Solari's sensors screamed. "It's targeting the colony!" Micah veered the ship sharply. "We're out of time!" The beam unleashed. Then the impossible. Solari hurtled into the beam's path. Her shields flared. She plunged her plasma blade into the weapon's eye, hitting the control node. Then, summoning all her strength, she triggered her suit's overload. A shockwave exploded from her, the beam collapsing inward, the energy being pulled back into the cannon. The silent sun shattered and lost power. The drones froze. "Solari!" Micah's voice, a desperate cry on the comms. Her signal was weak but alive. "I'm still here." Cheers erupted through the fleet. Later, in the second wind's medbay, Micah sat beside her. Her suit was scorched, her hair disheveled, but she smiled. "You're insane," Micah said. "I won," she replied. He laughed, clasping her hand. X-Van entered. "We've secured the station. Its data confirms everything. Toth has one fleet remaining. The capital is vulnerable." Solari nodded. "Then it's time to reclaim my throne." Virilia Prime's skies had been devoid of a royal banner for 5 long years. The capital, once a beacon of hope, was now a cold monument. Towering structures pierced the clouds, and the palace had become a fortress. Drones patrolled the streets. Whispers were the only currency, until today. Today, the Iron Phoenix had returned. The rebel fleet erupted from hyperspace, 23 ships leading the charge. The Vornus Blade, their vanguard, royal crests ablaze. Following were stealth units and supply cruisers. In the center, the second wind, piloted by Micah, cutting through space like a phantom. Inside, Princess Solari, armored in black and silver, her cape flowing like fire, her crown's true seal gleaming. Micah looked at her as they flew past defense towers. "You sure about this?" She nodded. "Toth has ruled with fear. I will return with fire." Toth stood on the palace balcony, watching the rebel fleet arrive. His face was pale, eyes burning with rage. He wore heavy gold armor. At his side, his guards, armed with high-frequency blades and plasma rifles. "She dares to come," he spat. An aide rushed to his side. "The people are rising. Cities are opening their gates. Our garrisons are surrendering." Toth growled. Then I shall deal with her myself." He raised his hand. "Lock down the palace. Prepare the throne room. Let her come." The aerial battle was fierce. Toth's fleet struggled to resist, morale shattered. Pilots once loyal to the crown began defecting mid-battle. Ships turned on their own. Against all odds, rebel hearts marched toward glory. Micah, a whirlwind of skill, piloted the second wind through the enemy's defenses. Blasts erupted, but he danced through them, a phantom of speed. Close behind, 3 valiant comrades followed suit. Within the ship, Salari readied her blade, her voice resolute. "Take me to the courtyard." Micah warned, "It's a trap." She smiled, a flicker of fire in her eyes. "Then let them trap me. I will stand where my mother did." They landed in the palace courtyard, shattered statues of bygone royalty scattered around them. Crimson banners of Toth hung like a curse. Smoke and fire tainted the air. Salari stepped out, her boots striking the ancient marble. Her rebel soldiers surged forth, weapons poised. A crowd gathered at the gates, their eyes widening in disbelief. "It's her!" a child cried. An old woman whispered, "She's returned." Salari's voice rang out, a promise. "I am Princess Salari Varelion, rightful heir. You were not forgotten, and you will not be ignored again." The crowd erupted in joyous roars. The palace doors hissed open, revealing Toth. The throne room was shrouded in shadows. The golden throne now sat atop a cold platform of steel. Toth approached slowly, his sword gleaming, armor humming with power. Salari entered alone, her suit adapting. Her sensors scanned for traps. Toth sneered, "You should have stayed dead." "You should have stayed in the shadows," Salari retorted. "Now everyone sees you. I built this empire. You broke it. I gave peace. You gave silence. I brought order. You brought fear." Toth raised his sword. "And now, your end." The battle began. Toth charged like a beast, his blade a golden storm. Salari ducked, countered, and spun. Her plasma blade seared his armor. He was strong, fueled by a darkness of his own. He struck with sword and suit, delivering crushing blows. Salari dodged, relying on speed and skill. They clashed, sparks flying, blades roaring. "You were never meant to rule," Toth roared. "And you were never meant to steal," she answered. He knocked her back with a vicious blow. She rolled, flipped to her feet. Her suit surged with energy. Her crown's light blazed across the city. The rebel signal went live. People watched, their hope rekindled, witnessing their true queen's fight. Micah and Xion held the palace gates, blaster fire echoing. Guards loyal to Toth made their final stand. "We have to get in there," Xion urged. Micah shook his head. "This is her fight." Inside, Salari and Toth faced each other. Blood trickled from his mouth. Cracks laced her armor. "You're weak," he spat. "I was," she admitted. "But weakness taught me strength." Toth charged again, but Salari sidestepped, slicing across his back, driving her blade into his chest. Toth gasped, falling to his knees. Salari stood over him. "You ruled with fire. Now burn in it." The final charge unleashed, an explosion of light. Toth fell, his sword clattering to the floor. The throne room fell silent. Outside, the signal shifted. A new crest blazed across the sky. The Phoenix Crown. The crowd erupted in joy. Flags burned, banners torn down. The royal song filled the air. Micah looked up, awe in his eyes. She had done it. Hours later, Salari stood on the balcony, thousands filling the courtyard. She raised her hand. "People of Varelia," she called out, "I have returned, not to rule with fear, but to rise with you in strength. I will build something better, A home where no voice is silenced, no citizen forgotten, no child afraid. This is not the return of a princess. This is the rise of a people. The crowd roared, flags soaring. Behind her, Micah stepped beside her. She smiled at him. "Still with me?" she asked. "Always?" he answered. The Iron Phoenix had fallen. But this was not the end, only the dawn of a brighter, freer Virelia, a kingdom reborn.